What would you say to a woman who's considering starting training?
Do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so why, Johanna? Why do you say, like, just go, do? Because anybody could say that, but from a woman's perspective, why do you think that it's important that women just get involved in not only self-defense training, but this particular type of training with Toshindo?
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize until I felt safe that I was scared my whole life. Right. I didn't, because it's like, if it's the water that you breathe, you just don't realize it,
Mm-hmm.
I remember sitting under a waterfall in my 20s with a dear friend of mine, and he was like, wow, the rock could fall and crush us at any moment. And I've never contemplated my death like that so imminently. And I was shocked. I was like, I contemplate my death every time I walk through the door to go outside or walk inside to a dark house. I think I'm going to get, raped and murdered. And training has been so important because it helps me not get rid of fear. Fear is an important tool, but I know I can wreck somebody. And that allows me to enjoy life more, right? And to make connections with people who are probably totally harmless, right? But otherwise I wouldn't have, just because that fear got in the way. And Toshindo, it's a martial art that it teaches effective movement. It was designed for people who are smaller, right? So women say, oh, I could never beat up that big guy. Absolutely you can, right? You just have to use smart technology. In fact, there are lots of instances where your size can be used to your benefit, right? We've just got to get over this concept that bigger and stronger equals better. It's just not, strength is just not what we culturally assume that it is, I guess. So that, number one, right? The technology is built into our martial art for smaller people to win. And it also teaches this whole sliding scale of violence. So it teaches what violence looks like, but it also teaches a sliding scale of response. So oftentimes with women, the violence it's not a stranger, it's not somebody jumping out the bushes, although that does happen, right? And we need to be prepared for that. But it's people that know how to break down our boundaries and get close to us, and often engender our trust before the attack comes on. So I have a sliding scale of tools to use, whether it's somebody just pushing in on my boundaries to touch me or manipulate my heart and mind in some way, or more overtly threatening situation. That answer your question?
That's a great answer.
We've got a
also built in is this empowerment, right? We oftentimes raising boys is so interesting, right? Because my little 3-year-old, he just thinks he's the bee's knees, right? He's like the best thing since a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He's like, I'm super muscles. I did that so good, Mom. And yeah, that's fantastic. I didn't have that confidence growing up, and often felt myself pushed to the side by people that did have that confidence. And the first thing that we do when we come into the training hall is we build up that spirit from the very first day, right? That ground holding earth sense of command. This is my space. I'm going to do it my way. That oftentimes women are absolutely capable of. And for some women, it comes naturally because women are also this spectrum, right? We come in all kinds of shapes and sizes and personalities and whatever. But for lots of us, that's trained out of us, that sense of command, that ability to command. And so it's really important for us to rebuild that spirit in our training. It's been my experience.
We got a question online. We were talking about if a woman was to come in and ask about training, and you were, absolutely enthusiastically do it. But what if they were to say, they can't find the time? What would you say to someone that says, I can't find the time to balance training between family and between, all the things that go on in life?
Yeah. My experience with training is that it gives me the energy to deal with everything else that I have going on in my life. And as somebody that's kind of the central hub of a home, right? When you got a million fires going at once, we need to take time to take care of ourselves. It's absolutely essential, because if you don't, then you burn out and you can't do all of the other things well, or you get angry, you get grumpy, you start acting. Toddlers know how to poke at your buttons. They're so good at it, right? And if I don't have the things, and I'm sure teenagers at every stage of the game, they know how to poke at your buttons. And if I don't have a few things in place, locked down, that no, that's mine, that 45 minutes twice a week, that's mine, then I'm going to start acting out of not the best parts of myself. So you need it. Bring the kids in. They can watch, they can play trucks with my kids in the back once we, get over the COVID bridge here, We
had another comment online. Somebody you may know named Stephen Hayes said that Johanna is one of my favorite people that he's met through Toshindo, and appreciating the interview. I want to express the sentiment also. Like, I've so enjoyed training with you over the years. You're one of the few people that will try to hit me hard, will try to kick me. There's a select group of people that I gravitate to at training events because I want to train the way I sort of want to train. And, the way that you're describing, I guess your pre-training self doesn't at all sound like the Johanna that I know and train with. So, like, was there a switch that flipped? Was there something that happened where you're like, I got it? Was there a point in the training where you're like, nah, I'm ready to scrap, or I'm good, or I can handle myself? Was there any particular event that took place that helped you get to where you are now?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I always go into those events and I'm like, now who's the biggest, baddest guy in here? And let me punch him so I can try out some stuff, right? It's, I love our training events at Toshindo. But yeah, it was actually, often we think of Aikido as this, real gentle thing, but I don't want to say brutal, but real intense Aikido teacher. And he just used to mop the floor with me. I was a part of the Ushideshi program. He says, who wants to do this all the time? I said, I do, right? And I remember there was a time when we're doing some defense or another, and I was getting really frustrated with it, and I was just crying, just like, tears coming down my face, and thinking to myself, I can't do this, but I have to. Anytime I paused or whatever, he didn't stop. He wasn't hurting me. He was not a mean person. He was a wonderful, wonderful teacher, a very kind man. But maybe that was a time that on the inside, I dug in and I realized that I could go further than what I thought.
Had a
that
comment.
Just kind of became the normal. That just became the normal for you then, Johanna? Is that your mindset was changed and you just realized, there's a lot more that I can not only take, but allows you to explore a little bit more on how intense or how, I don't want to say, lack of a better term of the use, hard, but you could intensify your training more to get the most reality out of it as possible?
Yeah.
I know you and I, like at different events, you and I have, we've done a lot of physical training together, but I also appreciate you're very inquisitive as to what the inner workings are within the physical aspects of the martial art and how these things play out on a physiological level, on a spiritual and emotional level. And we've been able to attend, of course, several events with Mr. Merritt at Mountain Quest, and we've had some pretty good, kind of campfire talks. So, you know,
Yeah.
there's like a balance, you know, to there as that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the training. I love this bringing together of the philosophy and the physical, because it might sound funny, but I feel like I've seen my, my nervous system change through training. And that's why I love what we do so much. It's like the philosophy is embedded in the movement. And like right now, I'm working from my 3rd to my 4th degree black belt. And I know I'm not going to be able to get those skills, that timing, unless I change how present I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
For one example, right? Just how present I am and how I'm observing things in the moment, because otherwise I'm going to miss that split second decision that has to be made. And so I think I've always kind of done things right. When I was painting, I wasn't just making a little painting. I was making 15-foot long, paintings with lots of panels and stuff, just because go big or go home, right? I guess that's a little bit of my personality there. If I'm going to do it, I feel like I'm going to do it. Now, otherwise, do something else, right? But I also, I want to test it out, because I don't want to. There's that test out, and then there's that scientific, inquisitive time. And we spend a lot of the time in the dojo, especially going through pregnancies and births and taking care of my body. And with, my husband is a precision machine when it comes to Toshindo. He's like, nope, not like that, right? You're like, it looks exactly the same. Well, until you learn what to look for. So recognizing what a big difference that perfection of skill makes on the receiving end has made me really want to be able to embody that as a practitioner myself, so I can make sure that I can make it work, because I want to get home happy, healthy, and safe every day, right? And it's a crazy world out there.
Yep. So it's funny, because when we were first starting to talk, you were mentioning, the journey that you had from 2nd to 3rd degree. You were spending a lot of time, in and out of pregnancy and minding yourself through that process while you were training, which is kind of in large degree what 3rd degree is about, is going with the ebb and flow of things, allowing things to occur, watching, being, you're observing. And now 4th degree is like, I'm trying to find, here's a little secret. 4th degree is about finding opportunity and creating opportunity in others. So you're living your life out while you're training towards your 4th degree. And isn't that absolutely amazing? Especially how Anshu kind of developed how we travel through the Dan levels. It really does. I mean, I'm sure you can attest to this as well. If you think back to those times, what was going on in my life during my 1st to 2nd, during my 2nd to 3rd, during my 3rd to 4th, those principles, because you're studying them so much, they become part of your life. And now here you are giving, your perspective and advice on how you manage and find opportunity, right? Or create opportunity in others to assist you in getting to where you need to be, or living the way you need to live, or managing how your day goes along. So while you're involved in the 4th degree physical aspect, you are certainly living a 3rd to 4th degree life. So rock on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's next, or what's next for the Norris family? What's next for the Cincinnati Quest Center? What's on the horizon for you guys?
Well, we're just opening back up our in-person classes. And so we've got classes, in person, and then folks that they're not ready to come back yet. So we're working online. It's fantastic. It's so great to see people coming back. And so great to see the work, that they were able to develop at home come to life in the dojo.
Yeah.
You know, it's been tough. We've taken a hit, as I know all dojos had. We had quite a few community members who lost their jobs and say, hey, I'd love to continue to train, but mom, dad's not working anymore. So our hope is that the economy shores up and we can continue to invite more people in to train with us because we love it,
If somebody from Cincinnati is watching now or watches this as it gets shared around, where can they find you?
They can find us at CincinnatiQuestCenter.com. Yep. Or we're in Springdale, right across from the Tri-County Mall, in between Firehouse Subs and La Rosa's Pizza. So there's always lots of good snacks around. 1171 Princeton Pike.
Well, I don't know how you and James stay so fit with all the pizza and stuff around. That would
Yeah, we have 3 kids. We chase them. You want to come say hi? Yeah. All right. Yeah. He's in the middle of teaching class over there and juggling babies.
Yeah, I hear the babies.
I know. Sorry about that.
Cool.
But
No, it's all good.
you were asking, what is it like? And I tell you, I heard somewhere that in Navy SEALs training, they blast children, babies crying over the loudspeakers to make the training just that much more intense. And every once in a while, usually they're actually quite well behaved kids. They're lovely, but
that's why you're such a machine. They're getting their top teeth now. Huh?
They're getting their top teeth, so they're a little unhappy tonight. So thanks for putting up with those screams out there.
It's all good.
Thanks for giving us your time, tonight, and notching out a couple of moments to share with Hardy and I some of the experiences, not only that you're having as a school owner and running, multiple tasks outside of the school, but being somebody that is in, the Toshindo community, whether it be virtually or, a presence in your own neighborhood, and being, a shining bright light for people to be able to take, solace in, because I'm sure you have conversations with folks that aren't just dojo members, but they're members in your community as well, especially how you move around and take care of the different groups that you have. So that is, again, one of the things that, while there are a multitude of just great people out there, we've got a good number of them that are within our community, and you and your husband James are certainly one of those. So we certainly appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me. This was really fun.
Absolutely,
good
pleasure.
times.
And I had a great reaction in the comments online. I think people were really excited to learn a little bit more about you, and we look forward to training with you in person in the future, hopefully very soon. So you guys stay safe in Cincinnati, and a bunch of people up here saying can't wait to train with you. So absolutely. Do you have any final thoughts you want to leave anybody with, or leave us with?
Yeah, I guess maybe just one. Considering the hard time that we're in right now in the world, that to be that brightness, like you were saying, right? Everybody's walking around with grief and anger and challenges in our lives, and we can make a positive difference just by being kind to each other. Often I put my kids in t-shirts, that remind me and us how to act, be kind. So thank you guys so much. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Johanna.